like to call this a regularly scheduled meeting of the Harlingen City Commission, which has been duly posted, to order. And at this time, call upon Commissioner Leal to give the invocation in place of Commissioner Yule.
With Friday being the National Day of Prayer, and I'm not aware of any local event, we're asked to meditate on Daniel 9:19. O Lord, hear. O Lord, forgive. O Lord, listen and act. For your own sake, do not delay. O my God, for your people and your city bear your name. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this day. We ask for a special blessing over this meeting. Allow us to be able to deliberate on the matters that are before us in a godly way that reflects your love and your affection towards us. Lord, prayer over our city, over each and every employee, that they have safety throughout their weeks. Lord, we just thank you for everything that you provide for us. In Jesus Christ's holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, welcome everybody to our City Commission meeting. We're glad to have you here tonight. I also want to remind you that we have a great Cinco de Mayo celebration planned for this Saturday at Gutierrez Park, La Placita, and invite everybody to come out for the festivities from 4 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. First item on the agenda here are proclamations for various things. We have a number of these proclamations tonight. We're going to get started with the first one, which is Elder Abuse. May 2017 is Elder Abuse Prevention Month. And we've invited Gustavo Salinas with the Department of Adult Protective Services and his staff or anybody associated with his organization to come on up here, stand in front and take your picture. And all right, welcome. Whereas people who are elderly or have disabilities have contributed to the general welfare of this city of Harlingen by helping to preserve customs and traditions of many people with diverse backgrounds. Whereas these residents are vital and integral members of our society, and their wisdom and experience have enriched our lives. Whereas the abuse of the elderly and people with disabilities in domestic and institutional settings is a widespread problem affecting hundreds of thousands of people across the country. Whereas in 2016, there were over 83,000 completed cases of elderly and disabled persons abused in Texas, of which 51,608 were confirmed. Many of these cases investigated by the Adult Protective Services in Texas involve self-neglect, and it is our duty to reach out to people in need. Now, therefore, I, responsible mayor of the city of Harlingen, hereby proclaim the month of May 2017 to be Elder Abuse Prevention Month in our community, and urge all our citizens to work together to help reduce abuse and neglect of people who are elderly and have disabilities. I want to present this to you. Thank you for bringing this.
My name is Gustavo Salinas, and I do work with Adult Protective Services, and I have a couple of my coworkers here with me. They're actually the ones that go out into the community and do the investigations. But just a little bit about what APS does is we operate on a hotline. So if you or anybody out in the public is suffering from abuse, neglect, or exploitation, and are 65 and older, or maybe an adult with a disability that's 18 and over, we will accept a call at 1-800-252-5400, 24-hour hotline, and it's confidential, so we urge you to call if you suspect any abuse going on in the community. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks again. Next proclamation we have is for to recognize one of our faith leaders in our community, and this will be for Apostle here, if you'd like to come up here with your group, I'd like to recognize Mr. Garcia. Whereas the city of Harlingen proudly joins the Church of the Living God, Holland, Ground of Truth, Light of the World, Iglesia La Luz del Mundo, its congregation and community members in honoring the evangelical and humanitarian work of Apostle Nason Joaquin Garcia. And whereas Apostle Nason Joaquin Garcia was born May 7, 1969 in Guadalajara, Mexico, and Apostle Samuel Joaquin Flores and Eva Garcia de Joaquin. And whereas Apostle Nason Joaquin Garcia has led the Church of Living God, Pilar and Ground of Truth, the Light of the World Church, since December 14, 2014, in which he assumed leadership as the living apostle on his death of his father. The Church of Living God, under the leadership of Mr. Garcia, seeks to spread the word of salvation through his ministry and the world. He has done evangelical work throughout 54 countries, celebrated international baptisms with 50,000 people and simultaneously baptized, who were simultaneously baptized on February 14, 2016. And whereas he has been recognized in more than 20 countries, which he's visited for his great effort and spiritual strength, and has forged a very spiritual church, which is confirmed in the daily lives of members across the globe, including one here at Harlingen at 405 East Jackson. So therefore, I, Chris Boswell, Mayor of the City of Harlingen, on behalf of the citizens of Harlingen, hereby honor and thank Apostle Nason Joaquin Garcia for his humanitarian, philanthropic, and evangelical work that proclaimed May 7, 2017 to be Apostle Nason Joaquin Garcia. Congratulations.
We'd like to thank the City of Harlingen for giving us the opportunity to come out here and represent the Apostle of the Lord. We are very happy here in Harlingen, and we'd like to invite the public to visit us at any time, any day. We are at 402 East Jackson, and we'd like to spread what they've given us, the word of Jesus Christ, and everybody is invited. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we have a proclamation for historic preservation in our downtown. So I'd like the downtown board to come up and help with this proclamation presentation. All right. You all look familiar. Whereas historic preservation is an effective tool for managing growth and sustainable development, revitalizing neighborhoods, fostering local pride, and maintaining community character while enhancing livability. And whereas historic preservation is relevant for the communities across the nation, both urban and rural, and for Americans of all ages, all walks of life, and all ethnic backgrounds. And whereas it is important to celebrate the role of history in our lives and the contributions made by dedicated individuals in helping to preserve the tangible aspects of heritage that shape our people. Whereas This Place Matters is the theme for National Preservation Month 2017, co-sponsored by the Harlingen Downtown Harlingen and the National Trust for Historic Preservation. And whereas Downtown Harlingen will be involved with 3 special events to celebrate Preservation Month in May in collaboration with the Texas Main Street Program. And whereas the Town Square Initiative Program, which will publicly launch at www.downtowntx.org, showcases and inventories Harlingen's historic properties in the downtown area. And whereas Imagine the Possibilities Tour in Main Street cities will showcase available properties downtown as a way to engage potential investors, entrepreneurs, developers, residents, and anyone else who has imagined themselves running a business, owning a building, or living in downtown Harlingen on Friday, May 26th. And whereas Celebrate Main Street Sweepstakes will showcase Harlingen as the Main Street City destination. And whereas also special exhibits of historic photographs of Harlingen will be displayed at the Vermilion Restaurant and at the downtown office. And now therefore I, Chris Boswell, Mayor of the City of Harlingen, we hereby proclaim May 2017 as National Preservation Month and call upon all the people of Harlingen and the Rio Grande Valley to join their fellow citizens in recognizing and participating in these events celebrating our historic downtown. So I want to be the first to congratulate our downtown board. Our downtown for so long, and we were all investors and owners in our downtown, and also to thank you for promoting these events in May that will really showcase what a beautiful downtown we have and all the accomplishments that have occurred there. So congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor.
Do you want to say anything?
Yeah,
briefly?
well, briefly is that pay attention to the newspaper. They're going to have the articles of what we're covering. We invite everyone to please come downtown and enjoy it. I get disappointed when I hear some people say there's nothing to do in Harlingen or enjoy life or anything like that. We have a very good night, artist night on the last Friday of every month. And Odie's and Carlitos and all the other restaurants are there. Put up quite an event on that night, so we invite you to come over to downtown and enjoy the night. We will also have some events on that Preservation Day, so I invite you to have some activities downtown. If you have any questions, Rebecca can assist you at the office. It's right downtown.
All right,
Yeah.
great. Everybody go downtown. The next proclamation, glad to know. Anybody here from the Waterworks Board or Board of Utility? This is a short one. Celebrating Drinking Water Week, whereas water is our most valuable natural resource, and whereas only tap water delivers public health protection, fire protection, support for our economy, and the quality of life we enjoy, whereas any measure of our successful society, low mortality rates, economic growth, and diversity, productivity, and public safety are in some way related to access to safe water, and whereas we are all stewards of the water infrastructure upon which future generations depend. Whereas each citizen of our city is called upon to help protect our source waters from pollution, to practice water conservation, and to get involved with local water issues and getting to know their water. Now therefore, be it resolved by virtue of the authority vested in me as the mayor of the city of Harlingen, I be hereby proclaim May 7th through the 13th, 2017 as Drinking Water Week, and present this to our new general manager, Tim Skoglund. For those of you who don't, Tom Van Dam. This is, I always say, we take things for granted, and clean water is one of the main ones that we take for granted all the time. We've got a lot of people working here in our community, 175 employees, about
143,
and working for the Harlingen utility that every single day, 24/7, making sure that we have clean, safe drinking water. It's certainly something that we shouldn't take for granted. We appreciate all that you and your and your employees do to keep us safe and healthy in our community. Thank you. Last but not least, MDO team, come up.
Any cyclists?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Excuse me a minute.
Whereas the bicycle is an economical, healthy, convenient, and environmentally sound form of transportation, and an excellent tool for recreation and enjoyment of the city of Harlingen's scenic beauty, And whereas throughout the month of May, the residents of Harlingen and its visitors will experience the joys of bicycling through educational programs, races, commuting events, charity events, or by simply getting out and going for a ride. Whereas the City of Harlingen road and trail system attracts bicyclists each year, providing economic health, transportation, tourism, scenic benefits, and whereas creating a bicycling-friendly community has been shown to improve citizens' health, well-being, and quality of life, growing the economy of the City of Harlingen, attracting tourism dollars, improving traffic safety, supporting student learning outcomes, reducing pollution, congestion, and wear and tear on our streets and roads. And whereas the City of Harlingen, the Harlingen-San Benito Metropolitan Planning Organization, the League of American Bicyclists, Harlingen CISD, and Bicycle World will be promoting bicycling during the month of May 2017. And whereas these groups are also promoting bicycling year-round to attract more visitors, to enjoy our local restaurants, hotels, retail establishments, and cultural and scenic attractions. And whereas these groups are also promoting greater awareness of bicycle operation and safety education in an effort to reduce collisions, injuries, and fatalities, and improve health and safety for everyone on the road. And now therefore, I, Chris Boswell, Mayor of the City of Harlingen, do hereby proclaim the month of 2017 as National Bike Month. Call upon all citizens to promote bicycling in the City of Harlingen. So, we said it all.
Get on your bike. Get on your bike.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
All right, thank you for all you do to promote
There's
bicycling.
something I would like to say. Represent the League of American Bicyclists and now Harlingen Wellness Coalition. Thank you very much for the support that we have for the bicyclists. And this is, I would say that San Antonio, also in Houston, watch out, Harlingen is coming up.
That's right. All right. Thank you. Thank you. I'm pretty sure Commissioner Yilmar is not here tonight because he did not want to hear me read 5 proclamations. Item 2, Viva Streets Harlingen, presentation of a donation check to Harlingen Wellness Coalition and awards to sponsors and spirit trophy to Harlingen School of Health Professions. Joelle.
Mayor, City Commission, City Manager, thank you for having us. I know it is a packed house, so we'll get started with the presentations. So first off, yes. Instead of doing a long presentation, we did a little recap sheet, which staff is going around passing them out. So thanks to you and to the city and to different departments, to different partners that we had. We had a very successful Viva Streets Harlingen, April 7th in the evening. We also want to thank the library for having their National Library Night Out. We had over 4,000 people at the event.
I have one.
We had more than 400 registers for the 5K.
No, I actually earned mine the hard way.
Oh, you took shortcuts. I was there. Wait,
Sorry, Hoya, go ahead.
So, as part of this effort, we partnered with the Harlingen CISD, the school district. We did a spirit challenge. We asked the school district to promote this event. The campus with the most students, faculty, and staff will be awarded a trophy. So I want to ask Harlingen School of Health Professions, if you guys come up and accept the award.
That's a good trophy.
Mayor, Commissioners, if you guys want to be in the...
Joel.
Oh, it's not, guys, I'm sorry. If you don't...
More to the center.
And then they'll stand right here by. Does that work? Yes. Okay. Hi, how are you doing? Good. How are you doing? It's good to see you. Very good. Stand up and lift my a little bit more. Mr. Mesmer's top. Oh, you want it? You can present it to the Phoenix. You can present it to the Phoenix. Sure, absolutely.
All right. Here it goes. Congratulations. I mean, that was a great event, and y'all did such a fantastic job in everything that you did to promote that event and to participate in that event. And a more deserving group of people than we could not find in the School of Health Professions here in Harlingen. So congratulations, and you deserve it. This is your trophy.
Yes, absolutely.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I know y'all had fun doing this. Y'all did a great job.
As part of the awards also, we would like to recognize HEB as our title sponsor and Harlingen Parks and Rec. So I'll ask them to come up front and receive your awards.
Yes.
And lastly, I would like to call Harlingen Wellness Coalition to come up front. As part of the 5K, the proceeds benefits them. So we have a big check for them.
Big check. Wow.
$3,100.
$3,100. And they had fun doing it.
They were the ones that put on the 5K and they raised these funds. He couldn't be here because he had to work, but he deserves special recognition for all he does for this community and what he does for this film. Hopefully we'll see more from, obviously we'll see more from him and hopefully more from us. So hope we give this money back to him.
Okay. Congratulations to the MPO staff and Parks and Recreation Department for organizing such a great event. So item 3 is the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of April 5th, 2017. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So motion.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign, motion carries. Consent agenda items 4A and B, is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
So moved, Mayor.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign, motion carries. Item 5, discuss and approve a resolution directing the publication of notice of intention to issue City of Harlingen, Texas combination tax and revenue certificates of obligation series 2017.
Mayor, Gabe's going to handle this item. We also have Noel Valdez with our bond counsel, and we have Ann Entrick and also the financial advisor in the audience. Thank you guys for being here. Okay.
Mayor, members of the Commission, City Manager, this item on the agenda for tonight is simply to ask for authorization to publish the notice of intent to issue debt in the local newspaper. There is a copy of the notice in your packet. I would like to point out that the date for the city council meeting, which was listed as June 21st, will change to July. That gives us more time to actually work on the project and give us any room for any timelines that may be coming up. If you have any specific questions as to the reasons, Noel and Ann can address those issues, but this does not obligate us to issue the debt. It just merely starts the process of us publicizing this notice in the paper.
This is simply part of the notification process to move the projects forward. At any time between now and July 19th, to be exact, we could back off of this or actually slow it down. What we can do is actually speed this process up. So we're trying to run this concurrent with the other notification process that we're undertaking for the 4B. So that's all we're doing.
Right, and then one thing that we'll have to add to the notice is we'll have to add not to exceed dollar amount for the project. So that will have to be published in the notice. And then if we do postpone the project, it would impact the notice procedure, so we may have to restart the process over again with the timeline in the newspaper. So again, this does not obligate us to issue the debt. It's merely allowing us to publicize the notice in the paper. And this notice was provided by bond counsel, Noel Valdez. So we recommend approval. And if you have any questions, Noel and Ann are here to answer.
Yeah, and this is for what project?
The all-inclusive playground project.
The destination park.
And what sort of money are we talking ballpark?
I think the not to exceed number was about 3.385 million. Is that correct?
The overall project cost for phase 1.
So what the debt is, I think you want to know what the debt issuance is, right?
Yes.
What,
And more or less how much?
Well,
we're going to
it's for
bond.
$3.85 million. That's how much that we're proposing to include in the notice. $3,850,000.
Okay, so we could issue up to 3.8 million in change in bonds.
Yes, sir.
And what sort of length of time would these bonds
20 years.
theoretically be?
They're 20 years.
Okay. You know, I have difficulty with this. I don't like borrowing money. I don't like borrowing money for parks. If we had cash, hallelujah. But I do not want to take on debt to improve a park.
And this is a project that we've talked about for a little while, a few months actually. And the project we presented to the 4B board and the city commission for authorization to move forward with the notification process. We were given thumbs up to move forward with the notification process, and that's all we're doing at this point. We will have additional discussions on the actual funding request to the 4B on June 21st, tentatively, and then further on July 19th for the bids. Now, anytime between now and then, we can change this process. What we don't want to do is try to prolong the notification process and end up sometime in September. And Ann can speak to the interest rates keep fluctuating, and we end up with a higher rate. It's going to reduce our bond capacity, which will reduce the amount of money we can get. So I understand what you're saying, Commissioner. That's why we've had this discussion on how much to take out of fund balance and how much to borrow, and we reduced the amount to borrow to $3.85 million for the project. The initial project cost $6.6 million for phase 1. And this is a priority project that's been identified by the commission. It is a project also identified in the comprehensive plan, and that's what we're doing. We're moving this forward on the notification process only at this point.
And I'd like to point out also that as part of the meeting we had to identify the projects, staff was directed to come up with possible funding sources for all the projects. So that's merely what we're doing today, coming up with some options to actually get those projects funded.
And this allows us to get the notification process going and get it started, so the clock starts ticking.
okay, so it doesn't bind us to. We haven't made any decisions really about this park project yet. We other than that we placed it on the comprehensive plan as a priority, but I think we're still some of the details are still up in the air, and we're waiting for another meeting, and we'll see at that time, whether the 4B Corporation Board approves it, and then whether the commission approves it. But this is sort of put this in our back pocket in case we do decide to move forward with the project at this time, and if we decide that we want to borrow some money, then we would be in a position to take advantage of an interest rate that we like. So it's not binding us to do anything. We do need to, there is no amount in the notice, and somebody needs to tell us what that amount is if there's going to be an approval of this notice.
The not to exceed amount is going to be 3.85 million, and Noel can address that number.
3.85
Yes.
million.
Not to exceed.
The not to exceed number would, at least to my understanding, is $3,850,000. And my recommendation would be, since this resolution was distributed in your package without that amount in the notice, that the motion, should there be a motion to approve, that motion include the not to exceed amount of $3,850,000 so that we can memorialize that amount and also include it in the notice when it is published.
Okay.
And again, it's just a notification process. We can back off of this at any time the decision is made. This is just start the process. And the not to exceed amount, the mayor is right. We can back off of that amount as well. It's just not to exceed.
Is there a motion to approve the notice with not to exceed 3.8?
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Vote.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Aye, opposed.
Okay. So the ayes have it, and motion carries. Item 6, consider to take action to allow a license to encroach sound 13 feet by 306.62 from the existing 35-foot alley right-of-way located 902 Extent Road, bearing a new description of 0.0912 acre tract of land being a portion of 10-foot alley and utility right-of-way of coastal double sold subdivision section 1 and a portion of a 25-foot alley and utility right-of-way at Lot 1, Block 1 of the Viva subdivision and the shops of the mills. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Commissioners, the applicant is requesting a license to encroach of the south 13 feet by 306 feet on an existing 35-foot alley with utility right-of-way. The subject property has 176 feet along the frontage, along Dixieland Road, right here. This would be the alley. In a depth of 690 feet. The said alley is currently paved 20 feet wide and includes electrical, distribution, systems and facilities, water and sewer lines, and the alley is also used for garbage service. Just as a note, the previous owner of the commercial plaza utilized part of the alley for parking spaces. The request was reviewed by the engineering department and all appropriate utility companies. The engineering department had no objection to the proposed encroachment, with the understanding that future maintenance will fall on the property owners where the drive-through lane, which is going to be in this area here, the parking spaces, which is proposing some parallel parking spaces in the back, and landscape islands are being proposed. So this is what it currently looks like now. This is a view from Dixieland, and this is an aerial view, and this is a mock image of what they're proposing to be on top. The owner is required and has submitted a certificate of liability insurance, adding the city of Harlingen as the additional insured to absolve the city of any liability pertaining to the encroachment of the right-of-way. Staff recommends approval of this request, with the applicant being responsible for any future maintenance repairs on the right-of-way where the parking spaces, the drive-through lane, the landscape islands are being proposed, and aerial facilities being relocated underground at the cost of the property owner. Yes, sir.
Just for clarity, I asked you earlier, they're not going to be moving the pre-existing wall, because right now that 13 feet is being utilized by the previous owner as you showed there, as those parking spaces. I'm real familiar because this is in my area. And so all they're going to do is convert that from parking to a drive-through possibility.
Right.
Okay.
And the parking in this area where they are going to remain, but they're going to be parallel. They're not going to be coming into the building at a perpendicular angle.
Sir, may I ask you which route is the drive-through going? Coming or going?
It would be, what they're proposing is from Dixieland to come in, and then this little island right here is going to give one car going through here and a secondary car going and exiting this way.
They would have to exit through
They're gonna exit through this existing parking. This is gonna be additional parking, and they can exit through here onto the target parking area, or they can exit back through here onto Dixie. No, sir.
Dixie, right?
It's a one-way flow.
Okay, is there a motion to allow a license to encroach?
So moved, Mayor.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign, motion carries. Item 7 is to consider and take action to approve a contract with the City of Harlingen for Veronica Castillo-Baca to administer the summer Lego Robotics camp as part of the city's summer playground program and authorize the city manager to sign the agreement. Javier.
Mayor, City Commission, good evening. This request, if you all recall, about 2 years ago, we had the same summer Lego Robotics camp. Last year, I believe we brought the same contract to y'all, but it didn't happen because the instructor was ill, and so we canceled the program. And so some of the students are asking that we bring this program back, and so we met with Ms. Baca, and so we worked out an agreement or a contract. We took it to our Park Advisory Board on April 18, 2017. They made recommendation to bring it to City Commission for approval. They will be using the Dr. Abraham Cano Freshman Academy, and it'll be 1 week long. One thing that we did, we negotiated with Ms. Baca was to reduce the registration fee from $100 to $80. And what we're going to do is we're going to pay her 70% rather than 80%. And the money that she's going to be collecting is for supplies and material. And then what we'll do is we use our 30% for trophies and so on, and to be able to run the program. Staff recommends approval.
And so the school's on board, we know that for sure?
Yes, sir. Yes, we met with them first before we worked out the agreement with Ms. Baca.
And is this like a normal agreement, standard agreement that you do with whoever's doing a similar activity?
Yes, sir.
Is there a motion to approve the contract?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign, motion carries. Item 8, consider to take action to award the sale of city-owned property located at 1662 Sam Houston, bearing legal description of Arroya Estate Subdivision, Lot 14, Block 11, City of Harlingen, Cameron County, Texas. Dave.
Mayor, members of the commission, city manager, this property is at 1662 Sam Houston. It was the old fire station. A new one was built on Glasscock and open, so this one was shut down. We advertised for the sale of this fire station back in June 2009, and we had no bids. So we went ahead and re-advertised in April in a newspaper, and we had 2 bids that were submitted. One from George Dowry in the amount of $75,000, and one from William Thompson in the amount of $40,000. So we are asking that the council award the sale of the property to George Dowry for $75,000.
What's the value?
I think the appraisal of the property was 84.
Well, we had it appraised back in 2009. This was right after we had shut it down, and it was appraised at 150. But since then, it's been left in state of disrepair. So it's.
So we didn't order an appraisal?
No, we didn't. They can cost quite a bit, and we at some point we thought about just maybe trying to do something with that building, but it just wasn't to our advantage to do that. So in order to save costs, we didn't get another appraisal.
Where's it located?
On some Sam Houston,
On Sam Houston.
next to the apartments that are,
The old fire station. Right there into the casita apartment.
And we can't repurpose that for anything?
no, sir, that's really no use for us.
We replaced that fire station with the one on
Glass.
Mascot.
Yes.
And we had a group look at it when I was first running for office, and somebody made a comment that they would have to do some abatement. And so there is a cost associated with trying to repurpose that building for us.
Right, but we haven't had it inspected or.
I'm not aware of it.
Right.
I just know that
See, the
it's
thing
an
is-
old building.
I drive by it daily. It's in disrepair.
Yeah.
And the fact that we put it out for bid once before and received no bids, right, no takers. And that we have two good bids right now in front of us. And we can put it back at a tax roll and put a building back in use and possibly even get some folks employed.
So the owner will be required, or the buyer will be required to do all the modifications and bring it up to code and everything else?
I asked if it was sold as, or it would be sold as is.
Yes, that's correct.
And so they would have to pull any permits, they would follow the normal process for development.
Gotcha.
So we're recommending approval that it be awarded to Georgetown.
I'm sorry, what was the bid amount?
75.
Yeah, I would recommend that we accept this and put it back in the tax roll.
Okay. That's the motion.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign, motion carries. Item 9, consider take action to amend the October 2014 contract with Humane Society of Harlingen for the operation of the city animal shelter by allocating an additional $25,000 for the fiscal year 2016-2017 budget.
Mayor, members of the Commission, City Manager, the allocation that the city had approved for the Humane Society for this fiscal year was $131,500. City Manager and I met with Pat and some of her staff, and they were experiencing some difficulty, so we brought this to you to allocate an additional $25,000 in cash to the shelter for this fiscal year. So we're recommending approval of that amount tonight.
And this is a one-time allocation, and I will say that we are working with the Humane Society staff to develop a sustainable plan moving forward, and we plan to meet with them again in the next 2 weeks.
Yes, I think on May 15th.
May 15th, where we'll go over some additional information and financials, and to develop a plan moving forward that we think that can be sustained by the shelter. I will tell you that the current allocation of $131,500 is it's a great price for the city of Harlingen for what we get and for what they're doing. They do a great job of raising funds. They're just running a little short right now, and we just want to give them a one-time infusion to buy us a little time to develop this plan.
And we would take this as an adjustment to the budget, our mid-budget, just to make it.
We would amend the budget to include the $25,000.
She asked to speak. So.
If you'd like to step to the podium and say something, it's fine.
I'm sorry. On behalf of the Humane Society, I'd like to thank the city in advance for considering the $25,000 donation. The Humane Society has worked side by side in partnership with the city since 1989, and we look forward to continuing our partnership. I'd like to thank Dan, Cerna, and Gabe especially for meeting with us and helping us on this situation. It opened our eyes to some over and above our zoonosis grant assistance that we were giving to the other cities. They gave us some tips, so we have made that a better situation. We still have a long way to go, but I want to clarify the financial situation. Our shelter is always a month away from closing. This is nothing new for us. We've been here, Mr. Mayor, you know, I come here every couple of years. We're in the same situation. We at the Humane Society are providing a huge service to the entire tax-paying community. Harlingen is running on a platform of clean city. We are a huge part of the clean city by not having the stray animals running the streets. before you have the numbers of what our board has accomplished in the last 10 years during my presidency. We have went from 9,000 and something down to an intake this year of 6884 and only having to euthanize 5,031. We are currently on track not even to have to euthanize 4,000 this year, but into the 3,000s. All of this unfortunately comes at a huge cost. And I have before you what I took the actual numbers from when I took over in 2007 with a slight adjustment. You can see that if myself or someone like me had not stepped in, what the current situation of the animals could be in Harlingen today. We could be looking at in excess of 17,000 animals. So we all know the reason I'm here is because the gap between what the city gives us and the gap between what we spend is grossly out of proportion. We look forward to meeting with you guys on the 15th of May. But if you want the results that our board has created instead of the possible 17,000 animals, we need your help. And it's very sad that the only way that I can get the city's attention is to have to say we're a month away from closing. It shouldn't be that way. I wish that I could apologize for the publicity, because only to the fact that some people are really scared for us, and it's unnecessary. This is a constant problem we live with, and because of that, I want people to remember, not only when we're on the front page, that the shelter has constant needs, and it's everybody in this community's responsibility to help us and remember us when we're not in the news. Also, I'd like to thank Bloomers Flower and Gifts. They've started a business challenge, and in just a couple of days, they have 11 businesses challenging other business. And I'd really like to thank the Harlingen Rotary Club for immediately stepping in and helping us. A huge thanks to Remy Gibbs for arranging a fundraiser at Carlito's. Victor Leal was there. We raised a little over $3,000. The additional support we're receiving from this Rotary Club is far more than we could have ever hoped for. And lastly, I'd like to thank Maddie Garza, the 17-year-old Harlingen High School South student that has in less than 48 hours raised over $2,400 on a GoFundMe account. The money aside, this girl has showed that she's a true role model for the next generation, proving the need for community involvement and community service. So we have hope. The hope is in the children, the future, and we just need everybody to remember this is not our and our handful of donors' problems. This is an entire community problem. And thank you very much.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the? And this is not a donation. This is an increase to the contract for providing a service.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
No, sir.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. All right. Item 10, consider take action on a request from the City of Mission to enter into a sale and purchase agreement of an Encroach incinerator, to declare the Encroach incinerator as surplus property and authorize the city manager to prepare and execute all necessary documents.
Mayor, Commissioner, City Manager, the item before you is has to deal with the air curtain incinerator. This is a unit that our solid waste department uses to manage the disposal of and reduction of our brush waste that's collected throughout the city. This unit is a unit that was taken out of service back in January of this year. It's on course to be declared. As a matter of fact, we're requesting it to be declared surplus and be disposed of. The opportunity has presented itself in that the City of Mission has expressed interest because they want to establish their own waste management program for brush and debris management. And so they have offered to take possession of this unit for a sale price of $5,000. The city of Harlingen is, I guess, at an advantage at this point because units in the past of this type have gone through the sale of auction and gained about $2,500. So we're getting a little bit more through this avenue. Again, the request is for us to be authorized, or city manager to authorize the documents, signing off on the documents, and also declaring this piece of equipment surplus so we can dispose of it.
We're helping our neighbors to the west, and since they would be responsible for transporting the unit to their location, we think it's a good idea, and it's a great way to process the brush and reduce the amount of landfilling space that we need.
So we have a new unit that replaced this?
Yes, sir, back in January.
Is there, since Mayor Salinas isn't here to make the request in person, I thought I might just ask the question, is there no reason why we wouldn't want to keep this as a backup, you know, in case ours goes down? And
Well, there is an investment of around $35,000. There's some issues with the unit itself. The condition of the walls are also, but the main issue with it is it has a air distributor. I can't remember the name or the.
It's a tube. It's an air curtain. It just circulates air and it creates more heat, more fire.
Okay.
But the walls inside are lined with concrete and they're cracked. The outside, the metal part of it, you can see there, they're cracked. All that needs to be repaired in order to make it operational. So they're going to have to undertake all these repairs in order to put it back
They're
on.
going to be in charge of repairs.
Yes.
Yeah, and when they do, I imagine they'll probably get 6 to 12 months out of it. And so they're wanting a test to see if this is an option that they want to continue with.
You said they would probably get 6 or 12 months out of it?
I would imagine, yes, sir.
Wow.
Okay. Is there a motion to?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay. Motion to approve staff's recommendation, second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign, motion carries. Next item is board appointments.
I have none.
Board appointments.
I have
Nope.
two. I have for the Veterans Affair, I have Peter Douglas. And for the Harlingen CVB board, I have Michelle Lopez.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the board appointments?
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. If I may, I'd like to recognize Josh Ramirez. Josh in the back of the room. Josh, you can stand up. He is our new health director starting today. Josh comes to us with a lot of experience. He was a health director in Brownsville for many years. Then we took him from McAllen recently. He was in McAllen for how many years, Josh, as health director?
9 years.
9 years.
20 years.
So he is now our health director here. A lot of experience.
Welcome. All right. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you here. Thank you. All right. Last item on the agenda is citizen communication. Do we have any? Great. Then we're adjourned. Good night, everybody. Thank you.